and welcome to the second community forum sponsored by the Tennessee Tribune. Tonight, we're going to discuss reactions to the vice presidential debate that was aired live on October 11th. And it was between Vice President Joe Biden and Congressman Ryan. So my name is Sandra Long. I'm the editorial consultant for the Tennessee Tribune. And this evening we have 4 panelists, and I will let them introduce themselves to you.
I'm Walter Searcy, currently the State and Local Legal Redress Committee chairperson for the NAACP, and have been in and out of these rodeos for quite some time.
I'm Marilyn Robinson, and I've been in minority economic development for my entire career, starting in 1978. And I'm the founder of the One Fund, which is a low-interest revolving loan fund servicing Middle Tennessee.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Gilmore, state representative representing the Davidson County area, and previously I was a Metro Council also representing Davidson County.
Good evening. I'm Sam Coleman, a practicing attorney, two-term former council member of the Antioch area here in Nashville.
All right. Thursday night's debate between the two vice presidential candidates focused on domestic issues and foreign policy. And what we're trying to do this evening is hear voices of African Americans in the Nashville area and exactly what was your reaction to what went on. Commentators last night and this morning seem to agree that Vice President Biden won the debate, if you can say that. He had a stronger showing than candidate Paul Ryan. And what do you all think? Marilyn, what would you say?
Well, I was pretty proud of Vice President Biden. I thought that he did not wait for Paul Ryan, is that his name?
Yes. Yes, the Republican candidate is Congressman Paul Ryan.
You know, he did not let him change, try to distort the facts without putting them on the carpet immediately. And I appreciate that about him. And if you contrast that to the previous debate, I think that our president was being polite and just dismayed or just
Generally ineffective.
Okay.
Well, no.
Well, now we're not focusing on the presidential debate.
No.
Let's stay focused on what happened between the vice presidential candidates.
Well, only that I appreciate him immediately pounding on Ryan when the facts were not there. That's what I appreciate.
I thought that Vice President Biden was the clear winner. There were some sessions or sections, maybe Ryan held his own. I didn't think he buckled in any way. But it was obvious to me that there were some times that he didn't have his facts straight or that he was not being honest. And when he wasn't, I was proud that Vice President Biden called him out on it.
Yes.
Yeah, he just did not let those comments go unanswered. And I thought that was very important and something that was missing in the previous debate.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was interesting, and not all polls had Vice President Biden winning. The CBS poll had Congressman Ryan winning. And what I found interesting, just as interesting as we talk about here, there's still that steadfast as part of America want to think that they're gaining and that they're doing good because they're holding steady. And when I say they're doing good, I mean the Romney-Ryan ticket. I thought he was weak in some areas, Ryan, but I thought he was holding his own and pretty strong in others. I think the abortion issue killed him. I think he was a little weak on foreign affairs, but he gave the reserve part, and I think he wanted to hold it in the middle of the road because he knew, well, they knew that Biden was going to really come after him. So I think he did what he set out to do as far as the conservatives were concerned, and leaving the red meat for hopeful candidate Romney on Tuesday night.
Okay, we'll see.
Well, the query I must always raise in these matters is was there a game changer that took place yesterday evening.
Was there?
There was not.
No.
Not in my opinion. I thought that the Vice President did staunch a wound that had opened up from the presidential debates the week prior. The bleeding stopped, and to that degree, he was successful in what he was attempting to do. I agree with Sam's analysis of Ryan's general performance, that he was wedded to the talking points of their party, and since their talking points in major content are deficient in truth, then you had a repetition of the same lies that began with Romney's presentation the week prior.
And what
The
were
difference
those lies?
being, well, lies about the tax numbers being quantifiable and justifiable. That is, his pro-growth policy going to, in fact, allow the budget to be balanced, at the same time reducing everyone's taxes, is poppycock. I think the Vice President correctly called it malarkey.
And baloney.
Yes.
There were
And
terms.
stuff. Yeah. But I like malarkey. I'm a Midwest kid. I'm familiar with that term. I went to school with Irish kids. Malarkey is something I understand.
Okay.
And
I
it's
understand
difficult to
malarkey.
describe, but you know it when you hear it. And that's what we've been getting from these people. And to his credit, Biden's credit, he responded in an appropriate fashion. He responded early and often, and really didn't let up off the gas. And that was important for, I think, the Biden-Obama team, the Obama-Biden team, because politics is a very fickle process. And those who are faint of heart, well, my family members, my children, they tweet, they call, they text, they do, oh, the world is falling in. The president is in good order, and his vice president helped maintain that order last night.
I thought it was interesting how the public perceived the first debate and how they perceived the second one. The first debate, Governor Romney interrupted. He, I thought, took more than his time. I thought was rude in terms of interrupting the president when he was speaking, as well as just manhandling the moderator. Mm-hmm. And people view that as being assertive. And then last night when Vice President Biden did that, in fact, he wasn't rude to the moderator at all, but he was assertive. And he did interrupt Ryan when he made a mistake or he wasn't honest. And then the media today says that he was being overly aggressive, he was patronizing, he was trying to treat the congressman like a little boy. So that was just totally different when both of their behaviors were almost mirroring each other.
I agree with that.
Did you agree that they almost mirrored each other?
Well,
in terms of the presidential debate, what Romney did and what Biden did last night.
I think in terms of being in control and not allowing the other candidate to take over the conversation. I think it did. Because
we also had a situation too where the moderator was more in control of the process last night
Oh, absolutely.
than Jim Lair was on the first night.
Wonder why?
Well, I think that the Republican strategy was a good one. They went in with the intention of bullying the process, and they did. Mm-hmm. And the only person that was Jim Lair wasn't going to stop it. The only person that could have stopped it was Obama. Mm-hmm. But that's another.
Yes, we're focusing on vice presidential. And sorry, well, no, but you raise a very good point. Yeah. One of my questions was, what did you think of last night's moderator, who this time was also a woman, and there was a lot of discussion before we even got to the debates about having a woman as a moderator. And this was a woman very well versed in foreign policy, and I think she showed it last night. Because she could follow up with very, questions that really honed in on exactly what they would be doing. Did you find her to be?
If you follow Washington Week, Gwen Eiffel's program on Friday evenings, the moderator from last night is a regular.
Right, Martha Raddatz.
Yeah, Martha Raddatz is a regular on that program, and she's always displayed herself as competent and knowledgeable. And last night, she appeared to be in good form.
But
Yes.
Vice President Biden kind of called her out one time.
Yeah, sure.
You're an expert in foreign policy.
Sure.
Did you notice
He
that
said
too?
you should have
Sure,
that.
and she did. That's her beat. Foreign policy business.
The other thing to be learned from the first, and I don't know if Mr. Laird was just totally caught off guard or he didn't seek control when he should have last week. But I think everybody learned a lot about a moderator and what a moderator should be doing, and I think that she had that advantage as opposed to the first one around. So, to his credit, I think they were heavy hitters. He didn't know how the flow was going to go, and when Governor Romney started to insert himself, it probably caught him off guard. But again, like Walter said, no one could have stopped that but the president. But it's something to be said when the guinea pig, when you're the first one on the block. And it just so happened it didn't turn out good.
I did think it was two game changers though last night. And one, I thought that there were clear differences in their stance on abortion. And I appreciated that both of them were Catholics and that their religion basically says that they shouldn't have abortions. But Vice President Biden went one step further. And he said, while I may disagree with it, my religion says that we shouldn't do that. I don't feel like that I should impose my views or my religion on all the other different religions in the country. And I think most women probably appreciated that stand.
Do you think women appreciate, and I'll come right back to you, Marilyn. Do you think women really appreciated it, or do you think it's a point that would women voters would change from the Romney-Ryan ticket to the Obama-Biden ticket?
I think that was a clear message to a lot of women that if Romney-Ryan are elected, that they will do everything that they can to reverse Roe versus Wade.
Which was ruled in 1973.
Yes, and so I think
Well,
most
as much as said.
Yeah.
Ryan as much as said.
Yeah, and so
notwithstanding Romney's attempt to say something different
absolutely
a week prior.
Yeah. And then Ryan almost contradicted himself because he said he didn't want some men in robes to make that decision, but yet he wants government to do it.
Right.
And so it's the same thing. And the other game changer that I thought was when Vice President called him out on the stimulus and says, you criticizing the president for it, but you wrote a letter.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And talked about
the
the economic benefit.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, I thought that was really.
Did he drink
Because that
water
showed
after
people
that?
that there's just dishonesty, there's just
One thing he
hypocrisy.
could have done better is pull them out and said, let the camera focus on
He
it.
didn't seem to have a good comeback for that.
He wasn't
There
ready.
was no
was he?
comeback. There was no comeback.
And Marilyn, you were going to make a point earlier, so I wanted to come back to you.
Abortion.
Abortion.
Oh, about abortion. I just
And
concur.
women's
Women's
rights.
rights. Now the only thing that could possibly happen is will women put race over the right to choose? And
Do you think women will do that? And when you say women, you're really talking about white women who may put race before.
will white women put race before the right to choose? Will white women put party before the right to choose?
And what do you think? You're raising it as a question, but what do you think?
Well, if we look at the past election, I'll say women will put the right to choose over race. If we look at the past election.
Well, this is why I said earlier it wasn't a game changer. because coming out of that session, pretty much sentiments are already firmed up.
You mean
That's
base to base?
Yeah, and
So
not only
it's
base to
the
base, but even the small middle is shrinking. People pretty much, I think, have made their determinations, and since there was no major fall by Ryan, no major score by Biden, or conversely, then things pretty much remain the same. We were listing a little bit, and the one thing that did change, I think, was that Biden did put the tourniquet on the wound. But beyond that, that's why I said, and that's what I meant by not a game changer. Clearly, there were points scored, no question about that. But I don't think and I think the polls Sunday's polls really, particularly Pew and Gallup, will probably bear that out. And we'll see what happens in the next presidential debate. But
Do we know more about Ryan now than we did before last night's debate?
Well,
Do
I
you
think
feel
his
like you
job
did?
was to just steady the ship. I mean, the last week was a breakout week for him, and you're talking about game changers. Last week's presidential debate was a game changer for most conservatives.
Right.
So Ryan's job wasn't actually to win; it was just to hold it in the middle of the water, because everybody knows that this man is a baby to the vice president. So what he was trying to do is not lose anything, and Biden's job again was to put the tourniquet on, stop the bleeding, and put the debate issue back where it should be with the president candidate.
And I thought it also showed both of those candidates, and you could ask your question, which one would make the better president should something happen to our president, Lord forbidding that will not happen. And, I tried to look at it as unbiased as I could, and I really think that it was clear that Biden would make the best president.
Far superior, it's no question
You
about
know,
it.
it's interesting how America is looking at this. I'm very careful about when we're together praising the choir and singing the choir. Obviously, there are a lot of reasons we feel the way we feel. But when you turn to CNN, you turn away from MSNBC, you get another drift of it. And you get those Republicans coming on saying, look, this is more the same. We won round two. We didn't win it as big, but we weren't supposed to win it as big. We're stacking up for this presidential debate and all the things that he can draw. They really want to stay on the economy. And when he got away from the economy, he was really, really weak. He didn't talk about his budget. He didn't talk about how they would get things done. And I thought Biden did a really good job of bringing them right back to those points. Because again, they're not explaining that $5 trillion that they're going to get from somewhere.
And it did come up again in last night's debate. The other point related to employment that I thought was interesting when they raised the point that the unemployment rate had dropped
And continuing
and is continuing to drop. Ryan said no, he just totally disagreed with it. And I thought, well, how
And it's facts.
how
I
is
mean,
that?
Well, you know
what
why?
math is
You know
that?
why? Because they're trying to say they cooked the books for this particular area. Marsha Blackburn, representative from Tennessee, said last night they're counting part-time jobs. I mean, that was the most absurd thing I've heard since last Friday when the numbers came out. And from the very beginning, 8:30 last Friday morning, they were on this theme. They cooked the books for this election, from Donald Trump to the GE executive.
I think
What they
So
want
they
to claim is we're
distorted the
cooking the
facts.
book.
They're still working to distort the facts.
fearing the possibility that this may itself be a racially charged statement. But what I've discovered in my experience, and I ran for Congress right here in this district in 1987. So I have some scars on my behind in that regard as well. That there seems to be almost an ethnic proclivity for people, certain groups of people, to lie with impunity. Lie unabashedly, lie without limits on and they will urinate on your leg and tell you it's raining
Okay.
every opportunity they get. And I think that we see almost an entire political party willing to do that. They look at brown and see gray. They look at red and see blue. They look at black and see white. I mean, it's incredible the capacity that they have. And I've seen it time and time again. Romney has consistently lied. Ryan tried to consistently lie last night. He got caught on it, and I would pray that every opportunity that is afforded anybody rebutting these lies to do so and call them what they are.
Okay.
Because
All
you
right,
know what?
let's-
Now there are unbiased sources.
Mhm.
I've been following a fact checker,
Yes.
and that helps because it's not party politics. It's just facts.
They will
So if
tell
we
you
would dig
that
a
it
little
is.
deeper, but I mean,
They
but
will
if
tell
we
you that
would,
it
you know, and look at the third party independent sources,
And that can make a difference.
it makes a
Because
difference.
in fact, that party said that they were not going to be hampered by fact checkers.
Yes,
So that-
sure.
that's-
Right.
Oh, Mr. Coleman?
Yeah.
Well,
Trying to
I'll
get-
just be brief because I know you want to break up. But again, the game plan was to get the game to the fourth quarter. All the things that Romney had been caught up in over the summer, from 47% to not showing his tax returns, all of those things go out of the window with one debate. All they wanted to do is get it to the fourth quarter. And what makes them so strong is that they're so well financed. They're running these ads in several places, and they've gotten people caught up. And so what we're saying, Walter, this unequivocal lie, they call it a spin run, spin doctor. And they're saying it's just the way you look at it. If you turn it to the left, it won't look like it did when you had it over there. So wherever you got the cameras, whatever we're
That's
saying.
what they do.
And if you say it often enough, and if everybody
Sure,
says it,
sure,
then people
exactly.
begin
They begin
Catch
to
on.
believe it.